Welcome, everybody. This is episode number 115 of Tech Sales Insights. Really excited to have excellent go-to-market leader, Mark Stephenson, with us today. Our title topic is around your ICP, or ideal customer profile, why a focus on ICP is even more critical now for go-to-market teams. So not just sales, but the whole broader go-to-market team. As always, brought to you by Sales Community. For those that are members, thank you very much. For those that are not, you can go to salescommunity.com and you'll see in the upper left-hand corner, I think it is, a link winter free. And as always, we have Tucker behind the scenes here helping. So Tucker, thanks so much. And maybe you can put up the free link there as well. And we've got a new company to Sales Community, Trender.ai, who's sponsoring today. They're in the ICP space, so we thought that would be very appropriate. So it's Trender.ai, and Tucker, maybe you can also post the link for them in case anybody wants to check them out. They're definitely an up-and-comer. Trender is a new approach to sales prospecting. It's a search engine that automatically discovers new prospects across social media platforms, kind of like Sixth Sense for social. So if you think about it, lots of different use cases, but for sales, Trender automatically scans and searches social media platforms to uncover conversations and contacts based on targeted keywords and hashtags. Get the right people quickly, book more meetings, engage with prospects authentically. So look forward to seeing and hearing more about Trender as we expand our relationship. So, Mark, we've known each other for a long time. You've done a much better job of keeping your hair, although gray, than I have. But I certainly can vouch, personally and firsthand, working with and alongside Mark. He was recently a very successful CRO at Evisort. Before that was at Avi Networks, then Cloud Passage, Digital Realty, all in sales leadership jobs. And then before that, he was in the big company side, where we're together at HPE and also Cisco for a long time. And early on, I think you cut your teeth in sales first with Xerox, correct?
Selling typewriters and copiers, door to door, Randy.
There you go. So what do you think was maybe if there's any new sellers here that are starting to get into sales or think about sales, any valuable or maybe number one takeaway from Xerox for them?
The harder you work, the luckier you get. The cold calling is foundational. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, amazing. You can say how critical it is, and talk to some younger folks these days. They seem to kind of shy away from it. I won't say her name. I was speaking with Ken Doherty and some other executives at a University of Alabama MBA sales class Monday, and the person says, and my hair is about to go on fire if I had hair. I want to get into sales, but I really, I have an MBA, so I don't want to do any cold calling. So, my answer was to that. But anyway, Mark has a awesome wife, Angela, two wonderful young men, also very charitable in his San Francisco community. And has been a great partner with Sales Community. Some of you may have seen the RevOps architecture that we put together based on a CRO offsite in Beaver Creek. So Mark was instrumental getting that going as well. So let's jump in with our title topic here, ICP. So do you want to start with your kind of intro on it, or do you want to put the chat GBT?
Well, I'll do a little intro, then we'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we, Tucker in Sales Community, I'm really glad to be here. And we did a post yesterday on ICP that you could read. And it's really over time, I'm not that smart. I had an original idea in 1987. I can't remember it. So from an execution standpoint on go-to-market, I focus on four things. ICP is the first, hiring great talent. How you get your whole team focused on go-to-market for efficiency and leverage, and then sales effectiveness and a modern RevOps stack. But why ICP is so critical is always been a point. Everybody will tell you, oh, yeah, we're really focused on our ICP. But in this economy, whether it's an R or not, it's even more critical to focus on your ICP. And so what is the ICP? Randy and I were chatting about it. And, if you kind of been under a rock, I hadn't heard about ChatGPT. And I said, well, I'll ask ChatGPT what is ICP and see what the answer is. And you got to post this, Randy. I could not believe, in less than a minute, what the response was. So if you want a good definition of ICP, ChatGPT's got it. And if you pull that up, it's really four things, right? Is you want to focus, you want to put all the wood behind the arrow of an ideal customer for your business. And you want to look at things like demographics, psychographics, how they buy. Third is behavior, and you just mentioned a lot of technologies out like Sixth Sense and others where you can understand intent, bias, and behaviors of prospects. Rich opportunity to use technology around ICP, and your company sponsor today, absolutely there as well. And then the company organization and size. And that last piece that ChatGPT mentioned, company size, is usually the only thing people are focused on around ICP. You got to look at these other factors. And I love, even at the bottom, it's a little hard to read there. It says, the reason you focus on ICP is to be more efficient and effective in your marketing campaigns and get higher conversion rates. How spot on is that?
Crazy.
It's exactly the reason you'd focus on ICP.
Crazy. And we have a couple comments. So anybody who wants to ask any questions or chime in with any comments, certainly love that. So Peter Bell says, love Mark Stephenson quote, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Right on. Peter also a cold caller back in the day, like all of us. Justin Middleton says 100%. And then Justin adds, then it's nice to know who responds in what channel, phone, email, social. Absolutely. And then probably a follow-on from there to go with Justin's comment is there's probably degrees of success if you can not only know who's responding by what channel, but then know what's the propensity to actually enter the pipeline and then actually get deals closed. So you could have, as an example, maybe I'm going to make it up. So maybe somebody responds on the website, doesn't end up converting, but somebody that I'm going to do through the channel partners or through phone, those end up converting better. But the point would be, relative to knowing your ICP, kind of what are these kind of reach out lead gen channels yield more success? Have you seen that?
Yeah, definitely. It's really you want to look at, if we peel the onion even further, the other thing about ICP is you want to pick customers that have the highest need for what your solution provides. And if you're getting higher connect rates to folks that need your product more, that's probably why. But you want to focus on customers that have a high need for what you do. Second, that you could expand with, right? That they're going to need this solution across their entire business. And that's how you get better conversion rates on new logos, but how those new logos turn to greater than 120% net dollar retention, which is the key to SaaS, right? Is if my business model is all about new logo acquisition, that's tough and it's hard on, I'm going to say this word, has been used in a long time, margins and gross margin and profit and cash, right? So you want to be able to work with customers that you can build a business around. That's the third element. So high need for what you have, ability to expand, and third, can you build a great business around that? That should be an element around your ICP. And if they really need what you got, I bet your conversion rates are going to be higher. If you can communicate that, you can solve that, right?
Yeah, it's especially seeing Peter on the VC side. You hear about a lot of different factors, but product market fit. But they might have product market fit and think they're selling, but kind of how scalable and repeatable is it by those different segments, and what's the value prop messaging, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, something as simple, stupid as this. back when I was at Cisco, every year you'd have the scrum on picking your accounts. And I would use two things to pick my accounts. I would look at, does the company have double-digit revenue growth? And what's their gross margin? Here's the big tell. If the gross margin is greater than 50%, they don't need an annual budget cycle to buy what you got. They got disposable cash to buy what you got. If nothing other, look at double-digit revenue growth and gross margin to pick the industries you're going to go after. That's why when somebody tells me, yeah, we're going after healthcare, retail, and manufacturing, I'm like, oh, good God. Hopefully it's because your solution only works for those markets, but that's a tough ICP industry to go after.
Hey, you know what? How about this for a blog idea? How to help reps figure out what accounts they want to request in the current sales cycle, right? I mean, how many reps, go after just the stupid stuff, and there's so many common sense things. So maybe you can do that as a follow-on blog. And then Tim from Convertive, who's a fantastic services partner in the RevOps space and data space, says ChatGPT is missing technographic data. Right. And then Tim also says personality trait data too, but still is amazing as a resource tool, huh?
Well, that's the point. Is like if you're opening thinking about something, I'd go hit ChatGPT to see what's the prevailing research and topics and things on it. But Tim points out a really topical piece right now, which is unless you're astute on the topic, you won't know if you're being spoofed by ChatGPT or not. And he's exactly right. It's a great first answer that we showed today, and in less than a minute, I'll take that. But technographic data, which really means what kind of other technologies does the company buy? Like, does your solution really work well with Salesforce or others? That's a tell in your ICP that you want to really scrum for and figure out. And personality data and all these other things, I made this comment that no persona buys, a personality buys. And you want to vividly understand your ideal customer profile to the person, the role, the type, why they would want to buy that solution, the behaviors around it. That's how deep you want to get.
Totally.
The other thing, is some of these things we're talking about is so foundational, but it gets overlooked. Like back in the day, what were the three things around a value prop that we would focus on? Can your solution bring $1 of revenue into the company? Can it take $1 of cost out? Or does it mitigate risk? Or like you say, does it keep you out of jail? But it's in that priority. If you could show your solution can bring another $1 of revenue into the company, that's the highest order value prop. And by gosh, if it can also save cost, that is a hugely valuable value prop. But I worry about folks that aren't really focused on those three things. And if your value prop is really just risk mitigation, that's challenging in any economy, especially now.
Yeah, totally. And then speaking of personality, just a sidebar, we had the pleasure of meeting the Humantic AI CEO, Amarpreet, in Beaver Creek at our event. So for those that have not talking about personality, you can you use that login and you get a free, trial, a few weeks or something like that. But it's fascinating because you can put in your name and see if somebody's selling to you, kind of how they should work things, but also more importantly, people that are either on your team in terms of how can you work better with them, but then people you're trying to sell to or partner with, because different personality profiles, number one, knowing the personality profile helps. Then number two, knowing what they may like or not like is a huge advantage. So, and you've seen that as well, correct, Mark?
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's kind of a renaissance time in RevOps right now, because there's so many different tools that you can use to really get scalable ICP. And actually, the bigger problem is focusing on what are my leading and lagging metrics that I really want to improve? What's the current problems in my go-to-market? So then you can zero in on the tech stacks where you really need to make the investment. I think a lot of companies are 150% of tools and maybe 25% of utilization, right? It's what's the effect there?
Yeah, and value is even worse. So another concept you believe in a lot is the whole value one in the ICP, and really tied into the M in medic or med pick.
Yeah, this is, like I said before, I just shamelessly steal best practices that I've heard from somewhere else. So value one's a concept from Looker that got bought by Google. And basically the idea is this, is you have to understand the current state situation. What's the problem the customer has? Second, what's the metric that is inside that problem that they want to address? And third, what's the desired state metric need to be to where they would invest in it? So you always talk, oh yeah, we're an ROI seller. Well, everybody's clear on what the investment is, but what's the return? Yep. And so the M in medic is really that metric of improvement that's tied to the pain that you have. So it's a long old concept, and some people, they get, hey, that's yesterday's news. No, people are still buying. They're still trying to solve problems that they have. And unless you can auger in on what's the metric of improvement, maybe it's mean time to failure recovery or being able to scale to more customers, whatever that metric is, if you don't find that out and do that homework and help the customer justify it, your sales cycle is out of control. And I think more so than ever before, CFOs are scrutinizing every spend. And they're going to be looking for the metric of improvement that they'll have. So the idea here is take your ICP, but really get into what that value one metric of improvement would be as a fail-proof way of getting your sales cycles moving in the right direction and really having control over the campaigns that you would have. Any homework you ask the customer to do is a bad idea forever.